Shadows and Symbols begins where we left off in Image in the Sand, with Ezri Dax and Sisko's in New Orleans.
You're probably asking yourself, who is this person? How did she get the symbiont? Do I even want another Dax in my life? Did she always talk this much? These are all very good questions.
Actually, I'm wondering if you're a Trill or some kind of diminutive elf. Ezri was on the Destiny, which was bringing the symbiont back to Trill, when things took a turn for the worse and was either put Dax in Ezri or let Dax die. And the response was, yeah, all right. She's had no training to be joined, and so while Ezri has the lifetime experiences of a bunch of hosts who did, apparently it's a bit like when someone conveniently keeps the safe combination securely locked up inside of the safe. The board gave her some counseling and a complete dummy's guide to being joined, but that didn't really help. Oh, speaking of help...
But the truth is, we're leaving for Tyree.
Fine. I'll come with you.
I see no way this could complicate our mission. After the titles, Worf is carrying out the ritual to consecrate this mission so Jadzia can enter Stovall, only Quark pops in.
You're a bartender, not a warrior.
True, but I love Jadzia as much as anyone in this room.
That's a brave challenge to throw at an angry Klingon. Quark is ready to go, no matter what it takes. And what it takes is a whole lot of delicate tendons. On the runabout, we get the aftermath of Ezri getting space sick, a side effect of this. I mean, technically, she does have a little bun in the oven, I suppose. What's bothering her is one of her previous hosts died in a shuttle crash, and that's the kind of thing that messes with a person.
Maybe I don't belong in Starfleet anymore.
Well, don't everybody object all at once. Jake follows her to assure her, yeah, you may be having some growing pains, metaphorically of course, but before you go back to making cookies in a hollow tree, you should know that your presence is doing his father a world of good. Meanwhile, on DS9, the presence of Romulan weapons in the Bajoran system is a big concern for Kira and the Federation.
The Federation has already sent a formal protest to the Romulan Senate condemning their actions.
Oh, well, that'll show them. Ross can see how messed up this is, but lays out the reality. The Federation cannot use force against the Romulans without jeopardizing the Alliance, and the Bajorans are not forcing the issue without Federation help. But Kira doesn't exactly have a history of seeing a great power move into their territory and then just shrugging her shoulders and saying, funny old world. So she intends to have a blockade around the moon so that the launch sequencers for the weapons, the stuff that makes them actually work, will never arrive. It's either a blockade or ensuring the launch sequencers are all sent by a knockoff company in China. Meanwhile, the runabout has arrived at its destination, only Sisko starts hearing a voice. And not a voice you'd expect from fiction. It's a voice over a PA, asking for a doctor to head to Isolation Ward 4. Well, you just have to kick that one down the road. We've got a planet to search. Yep, take a good long look at this shot because we paid for the location shooting, damn it. Well, the mission is underway. Quark is doing the important job of being the morale officer, making sure it stays low. He wants to understand why they're setting course for a sun when the goal is to eliminate a shipyard. The plan is to cause a massive eruption of plasma so huge it'll destroy the shipyard.
It will be a glorious firestorm that will illuminate the gates of Stovall itself.
I'm sure that makes Quark feel better about it. Actually, Quark shows a bit of bravery in his indignation. He thinks they're owed some appreciation for risking their lives on this mission. Bashir and O'Brien try to stop him. They've seen how Worf has been acting lately. And yes, he does not take this in stride. He essentially says they're engaged in an empty gesture of self-delusion about their relationship with Jadzia. This is made more powerful because it is not said with power. It's said quietly. This is not emotional outrage. This is cold belief. Well, you know who could use that? Our quartet walking through the desert. Ezri suggests maybe Sisko's pushing kind of a rough pace, but he's kind of fixated upon his goal, see? And so is Damar. He's brought a lady into the war room to discuss how we're going to break this alliance against them. Until Wayun shows up and says maybe their classified meeting shouldn't include anyone Damar wants to drunkenly shag. The plan calls for an increase in production at the shipyards, and speaking of more ships, Odo is wondering how Kira is planning to pull off her blockade. Well, she's got a total of 12 ships to work with here, and not impressive ones. As a matter of fact, one of them is a reuse of the model from our recent Starship Down. It's one of the Kamara ships. But Kira is planning a bluff that as much as the Federation wants to preserve the Alliance, so too do the Romulans, and they would have to know that firing on Bajorans in their own system while defending their sovereignty would jeopardize that. Basically, it's all one big game of chicken. In the desert, Pa Sisko implies that he's here as a way of atoning for not sharing the truth about Benjamin's mother with him until now. Except the emissary is far too focused on the search, soon abandoning everything but his shovel and his baseball. He's so distracted, Ezri finally just takes his baseball away and tosses it so he might listen. Except he thinks, hey, that's exactly where I need to go dig, recalling the time the baseball rolled off the piano and he had a vision. So he starts to dig to find what the prophets have left, or possibly buried pirate treasure. Meanwhile, Kira has set up her blockade, and Odo has provided the traditional blockade warming gift, a Mike Hammer detective novel, perfect for passing the time until they get to face down the Romulan fleet. And oh yes, they're on their way with important medical supplies, so important in fact, 14 warships are needed. Can't have anything happening to our band-aids. Kira makes clear there is a blockade, and it is going to be enforced. If the Romulans try to cross it, we're going to enforce it right in the face. In the desert, Sisko keeps hearing for Dr. Wyckoff to come to Isolation Room 4, to the point that he starts babbling about it. As for Worf, Martok is giving him a dose of perspective. Worf counters the assertion that maybe Martok shouldn't be here if Worf feels so strongly about this, saying, well, Jadzia was a member of the House of Martok, so of course Martok should be along. But that just makes the point clearer. These three are here without obligation. They're choosing to risk their lives to do her honor. Granted, in a somewhat annoying fashion in Quark's case, but the gesture's what matters. They have literally shed their blood to be here. So Worf admits to them that he was always a little jealous that even when they were alone, it felt like one of her friends was still in the room with them. Sharing this with them, too, that's what bothered him, but he realizes he was mistaken to let it out. And Quark even manages not to make him regret his words. That's his contribution to the mission. As for the Cardassians, are bringing the eye candy. Well, after a whole lot of digging, Sisko has discovered the orb of the emissary, only to now hear Dr. Wyckoff telling Benny Russell to put down the pencil and stop writing on the walls. He wants to keep telling his stories about Benjamin Sisko, but the doc says that is a bad idea. That's the whole reason he's in the psychiatric hospital. All the things that he's writing aren't real. He's got to accept that. This would be one hell of a lousy twist ending if that were the case. Speaking of case, Jake figures since his father can't open this thing on account of whatever, he will. As if Jake didn't have enough reasons to dislike the prophets already. At the blockade, the Romulans have finally shown up, and Ross calls up to appeal to reason, while the Senator adds diplomacy. She can negotiate a peaceful resolution with the Bajorans to this problem. But the only resolution that is acceptable is no Romulan weapons, and the Senator insists on having the weapons there, so this is ending with somebody going home and crying. As far as our heroes on the Bird of Prey, they found the instability in the star, but now they need to get closer to make sure the trajectory is right, or this won't exactly destroy the shipyard, just really give them a light show, although maybe that would cause love to bloom. Meanwhile, in the psychiatric hospital, Dr. Wyckoff gives Benny a paint roller to cover up his story and put an end to this. And in reality, Sisko is starting to bury the orb again. I wonder how the prop master felt about that. You know what's really great for something that's got hinges? Sand. Elsewhere,
Fire!
have you tried turning the star off and on? O'Brien's going to have to rework this thing in order to pull off the plan. Only Jemedar's ships are on the way. While they crap their pants, Ezri gets through to Sisko to resist the call and instead open the box, which in turn reopens the wormhole, which is a hell of a good omen for Kira and the rest of the Bajoran blockade ships. The odds are still against them, but then they're also against the Key of Prey, and it manages to pull off its fancy schmancy trick, destroying the 3 Jemadar ships that are pursuing and the shipyard. So that's one plot down. What about the blockade? Oh, that's sorted out too. Ross got the senator back down and removed the weapons. I suppose she didn't want to have to go home and say the Empire now faces the Dominion all alone because Bajor wouldn't let them arm their hospital with torpedoes. As for Sisko, he's been pulled into the Celestial Temple funkiness, where it's revealed that vision in the hospital was the work of the Pa Wraiths, but thanks to him, she was released to reopen the wormhole. Which is all well and good, but Sisko would like to have a few answers here, and those answers aren't great. This prophet effectively hijacked his mother's body so that she would conceive and give birth to the emissary, and once that was over, she left, and so naturally, his mother left as well. Yep. Mythology gets a little like that sometimes. Zeus was always turning into a deer and getting up to no good. Sisko returns to DS9, where everyone cheers the return of their emissary and also the return of their dead friend in a new body. Wow, this is the most excitement they've had around here at once since Garrick invented a new kind of fastener for pants. The post-episode follow-up. Annoying character goes to Dr. Wyckoff, who should have settled for only crossing out the part related to Sisko's mother instead of the whole damn thing. Final score for Shadows and Symbols, like Image in the Sand, is 5 out of 10. It successfully pays off the setup on all 3 plots, though the Sisko one I'd argue is somewhat diminished. His obsession and the fact that his father is there both lack resolution, and I personally feel that Benny Russell's presence kind of cheapened Far Beyond the Stars. Still, this gets things back in play and ready to tackle the final season. The nature of Sisko's origin is controversial. I mean, besides the obvious non-consensual nature of his conception, that he is now revealed to be part prophet or part wormhole alien, however you want to refer to it. The creators felt the need to lean in that direction more, essentially making Sisko a literal demigod. Personally, I'm not a fan of the move. Plus, I'm not sure how that works with the fact that he has a mirror universe counterpart, although then again, that probably nobody should exist if you want to apply that logic, so I guess I withdraw the example. Still, I prefer the idea of Sisko having just been a man, not any particular special creature by nature. It makes achieving all that he has done mean more to me if he was just a human. But that's just my personal take on it.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!
I was hoping for something a little more intriguing.
Such as?
You know, like Jadzia used to call my name out when she slept.